Let's see. Here we go. We are close to live. We are close to live. Yes, we are. We are live. Absolutely. Beautiful. Let's wait till some people jump on. We got a busy night. Brian, what's up, buddy? I hope you're well. I hope you're well. Jeremy Ryan Slate, good buddy of mine. Hello, sir. I got your message. I'll message you back. Been running all day. Michelle Prescott, hello. David in Toronto, hello. Sue in Connecticut. April in hello, Michigan. Sherry from Phoenix. Chris from Plattsburgh. Miranda, Kansas City, Missouri. Hello, everybody. Shelby Township, David. Oh, Wayfair, guys. I'm probably going to cover Wayfair on Sunday because it's crazy. And I'll be honest with you. I pulled 5 12-hour days this week. I'm not asking for sympathy. Don't worry. I'm just like 5 12-hour days just at the office. And then on top of that, everything that happened earlier in the week. And then so I will probably get to Wayfair Sunday when I'm tomorrow just resting and relaxing. I'll read about it and figure out what's going on. My wife told me about it on the way home, actually, because she once was going to buy something from Wayfair, but they wanted way too much personal information, and so she just ended up not buying stuff. And so I'm going to dive into it, and I'll figure it out. Derek, how's it going, buddy? Thank you for your prayers. I appreciate it. Sharon, hello. Gold Coast Greg, welcome. Let's see. Why everyone wants to know Wayfair. I will get Wayfair Sunday. I'll probably end up posting about it before because I know everyone wants to know about it. So just keep an eye out. I'll be diving into it probably tomorrow morning when I am taking tomorrow just to chill out. My body admittedly is a little beat up, ready to rock and roll, but I need a little rest. So tomorrow, let's see. Massachusetts, Crystal from Massachusetts. Hello, Nancy from Oak Harbor, Washington. All right. Melissa from Deltona around the corner. Hello, Kent, Washington, Ashley. Long Beach, Anita. Excellent. L.A. Key is on tonight. She is on here. She is watching. Hello, L.A. Thank you, L.A., for everything you do. And I just got an email, by the way. While L.A. is on the feed, I just got an email tonight from the person who hooked us up with Roger, and she is now hooking me up with somebody regarding COVID-19 and Gates. So I'm going to reply to this email tonight, and it looks like we're going to have somebody really cool on who also knows Roger, but also has some more information regarding... I'm literally looking at the email right now as I tell you this. The truth about the COVID-19 pandemic and Gates exposed, and there's someone on the inside who knows more about it and the investigation, and I'm being offered a interview with this person. So that's breaking news, and I will let you guys know. How does that sound? I was literally looking at my email. Hello, Herrera from San Diego. Hello. Hi, Missy. Tony from Danbury, Connecticut. I'm going to dive into some stuff tonight because I have Mr. Morley Robbins coming on tonight. Morley will be on in about 10 minutes or so, and then we're just going to have fun. When Morley's on, Dr. Dean can just kind of relax a little bit because it's more just a fun conversation, and he apparently has some new stuff he's been reading, so we're going to find out about that tonight. We're going to talk a little bit of health tonight. Now that your politics and your stress are all like amped up, because trust me, everyone's is, and I'm not gonna lie and say mine's not. It is, but guess what? We're gonna make it. We're gonna talk tonight about bringing that down and a bunch of other fun stuff. Okay? Excellent. I love it. Fantastic. Now, as you know, this is Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network, your source for health, freedom, and knowledge. And Roger Stone was commuted tonight. His sentence was commuted. So what does that mean? Okay, what does that mean? It's I'm going to give you the actual definition tonight, okay? Let's go to the definitions. To reduce a judicial sentence, especially a sentence of death, to one less severe. Okay? So the president. Let me take you to the article. Let me take you right to it. Here we go. Roger Stone. Trump commutes Roger Stone sentence day before prison term began. Let me kill the annoying ad there. Wait, it's almost over. I love ads so much, don't you? They're so fantastic. Good. Go away. That is just okay. We'll leave it alone. It's not playing any music. Okay, here we go. The White House, Friday. President Trump signed an executive grant of clemency, commuting the unjust sentence of Roger Stone just days before the longtime political operative was slated to report to prison to serve more than 3 years for charges stemming from former special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. Okay? So, right here, Roger Stone is a victim of the Russia hoax that the left and its allies in the media perpetuated for years in an attempt to undermine the Trump presidency, McEnany said in a statement Friday night. There was never any collusion between the Trump campaign or the Trump administration with Russia. Such collusion was never anything other than a fantasy of partisans unable to accept the results of the 2016 election. The delusion spawned endless and farcical investigations conducted at a great taxpayer expense, looking for evidence that did not exist. Now, I want to take you in a little something. So, I had a couple people ask me why Roger Stone, and so I don't know Roger Stone. I obviously have connected with him, so he's part of the Rolodex now, and a friend of mine knows him well. So, but this is the thing about Roger, and Roger even said this last night, and I'm actually going to go re-watch probably tomorrow the interview with Roger, because when I'm doing the interview, I'm listening, but I was also trying to figure out if I could do anything for the sound because of his end. I know it happened. It is what it is. So I don't always get all of it. And now I'm going to go actually myself watch it for the actual information and not from a production standpoint. Okay. But as Roger has said, his life has not been perfect. It doesn't even mean he's been the most perfect man on the face of the planet, right? He admits that open and honestly. He's also been a person who in politics, as you know, if you didn't know, politics is a crazy, crazy game. Sometimes gets very, very dark, right? If you ever watch, now I'm not saying go to Netflix because I don't personally like Netflix. I don't have it anymore. But if you have it, if you ever understood or wanted to know how the politics game works, go watch the movie House of Cards. Now, before the whole Kevin Spacey stuff dropped, I was a gigantic fan of House of Cards because House of Cards is really how politics works. It's a very dirty game. Now, I wish it wasn't. I wish politics was a very, very clean game, and I wish it was just about America and making America great, and hopefully we get back to that. But right now, and before this, it was not. It was a messy game. And I know some of the people involved in it got messy, and I'm sure Roger Stone at times got messy. The point is, though, Roger even admits this, and he talked about it last night. And what they were trying to get him on, he had nothing to do with, right? He had nothing to do with at all. He was not guilty of it, all right? Not guilty of the situation. So, therefore, that's a big problem because he's not guilty. He wasn't involved with what they said he was involved with. And I will tell you, let me take you to, Morley's trying to call in. I'll get him in a second. Let me take you to one tweet. Let me take you to one tweet right now so that you can see exactly what is going on. And I will tell you, this tweet right here alone will tell you that commuting his sentence was the right thing to do. And let me show you this tweet because wait till you see who wrote the tweet. So, Adam Schiff, right? Adam Schiff, who is a treasonous, disgusting human being, right? Tweeted, Trump just commuted Roger Stone's sentence. Stone lied and intimidated witnesses to hide Trump's exploitation of the Russian hack of his opponent's campaign. With Trump, there are now two systems of justice in America, one for Trump's criminal friends and one for everyone else. If you think at all that Trump did the wrong thing with Roger Stone, just know that Adam Schiff is speaking out about it. And at the end of the day, we know Adam Schiff at this point is insane, is a criminal himself, and should not still be in office. All right? should not be in office. Therefore, if Schiff's against it, you probably should be for it. How about that? For the most part, okay? I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but for the most part, all right? Guys, I don't know if something happened on social media tonight, but I will tell you, I've been asked twice now if I've been banned from social media, so guess what? I'm probably getting shadow banned. If you guys are having trouble finding the information, if you're having trouble finding the feed, I told you this was going to happen, and I have my friend working on the site. So we will probably end up live streaming from my channel, just like Alex Jones of InfoWars and many other out there. I'm getting my own network on my own site. All right. And we will still go to social media till we can, but it will not end up staying there. All right. It will not end up staying there. We will be on just the Revolution Network. That has always been the plan the whole time. And so that's what's going to happen. And that will be your source for media. And I will tell you, I'm also talking to people like Edwin Dearborn, right? You've seen him on the show. We're going to have a whole business side to this network as well. We're going to cover health. We're going to cover freedom. We're going to cover knowledge. We're going to cover business. Everything you guys need to be successful in life. That's what this show is about. It's not just political freedom. It's life freedom, right? That's what's going to be on this network. I'm done with the channels. I'm done with everything. I don't watch mainstream news. I don't watch mainstream anything. So you know what? I figured I want to impact up to 7 billion or more people on planet Earth. We're already impacting people across the country. I'm helping with their healthcare every single day, right? My goal is to impact as many as humanly possible, not just in politics, but in healthcare, knowledge, business, everything, freedom, right? So I'll just make a damn network. It's that simple. All right. So that is coming. I told you that a long time ago, right? It takes time. Trust me, it takes time, especially when you find out how much I'm putting into this thing and money, resources, energy, etc. It takes time, but it's going to be great. And we're going to keep building it. And then we're just going to like power this country and the world. Okay. So that is what's going on because yeah, you're going to see shadow banning. Trust me. I have 100,000 plus followers, and when you post a Facebook post, even if I get a good one, it might get 1,200 likes, right? That's called being shadow banned. Welcome to social media. When you have 100,000 people, and at the end of the day, you might get 1,000 in the algorithm, 2,000, whatever. That's what social media is doing to American patriots like all of us out there, all right? So we're going to just keep fighting, and we're going to take it to you guys as a source instead of having to go through all these corrupt channels, okay? The corrupt channels will stay up there as long as you can, but we're going to come right to you, all right? How does that sound? Fan-damn-tastic. All right. I'm going to give Morley a call. I was going to cover one more story tonight, but let's get right into Morley. Let's have some fun. Morley's in a mood tonight, I think, and I'll cover that story on Sunday. It's regards to the next COVID stimulus bill, and it's going to be connected to how much you get paid. So we will tell you about that, all right? Excellent. Let me bring him on. Let me see if he answers right away. How about that? He is going to be coming through the green room, okay? He's going to be coming through the green room. And once he jumps on here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take a seat, okay? Because I'm going to relax a little bit tonight while I do a fireside chat with Morley Robbins. All right, here we go. I'm waiting for him to pick up. If you guys have questions, please start getting them ready, because it's going to be very important. He always likes questions. We're gonna go through a whole bunch of stuff and see what he can help answer as well. All right. Come on, Morley, pick up your phone. Okay. Let me scroll to Twitter right now real quick while I'm waiting for Morley to pick up and see if there's anything more going on right now than okay. Here, okay, he's working on it. Good. Do you guys have questions that I can help you with tonight before we jump on with Morley? All right. Let me know if you have any questions. Also, get your health-related questions ready so he and I can both help you with that. We have no problem doing that. Morley looks like jumping. Oh, I think we almost have him. Give me 1 second, folks. He's working it out.
Mm-hmm.
He can hear me. I just need his video.
Where's my video? Where's my video?
Morley is on, and he's trying to find his video so that I can pull him up. I have his audio. I don't have his video.
There we go.
Here we go. Oh, there's Morley. All right, is everyone ready for Morley? Here we go. There's Morley.
All right.
How's it going, Morley? I'm going to take a seat now.
Oh, so I'm working and you're playing, right?
That's right.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So I want to know, am I going to get pardoned?
Yeah. You know? Morley, have you committed some crimes?
I've been in Starbucks jail now for several months, and I want to get out. So I'm so tired of this routine.
How have you been, sir? Because this is not. I don't officially interview you because we're friends, and I see you off and on. It's been a while because there's some vacation involved, but then both our lives get crazy busy, everything going on, and events and everything else. But how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. No, I've had a very busy last couple of months. The research doesn't let up. I think I've shared this before, that there's two compelling frameworks, I guess, that I've been working from. A year ago, I met someone who said, think about what's enduring, stop thinking about what's new. And everyone's all into shiny new objects.
Didn't I tell you that?
Well, this was Michael Greenberg who mentioned it to me, but yeah, I'm sure we've talked about it. But no, it's just people are so caught up with the next new idea, and it has failed us so many times. And then a husband of a student of mine he teaches a course in logic, and he has this great expression: missing information equals missing truth. And I found out something in the last couple of days that I think is going to blow the minds of a lot of people in your show, your followers, because it's hard to imagine how much more demonic the food system can get. But I've come across something that I think will unnerve people when they realize this has been going on for just a modest 80 years.
Yeah, before you dive into that, so it's interesting. In the past, I will let everyone know, in the past, Morley and I, we've always liked to, I have my conspiratorial side that I talk about a lot. Morley knows everything that's going on from a conspiratorial standpoint. He's on board with everything we know, everything we talk about every night for the audience. But a lot of times we've stayed out of the quote-unquote conspiracy of the food system, not because we don't want to go down that road, but because honestly, he and I know about it. It gets talked about every day. You have your Monsantos, your Bayers, your big ags, you name it, right? They're all out there. So when he says, wait a second, there's something even deeper, Morley has hit on something deeper, and I've ranted on this so many times regarding our population of people, Morley, just America alone. People out there have no concept of the health that they could actually have if just the food system was changed. I mean, the comorbidities that we have today that people are dying from, and not necessarily a pandemic, but you have your heart disease, you have your diabetes, you have your cancers, you have Alzheimer's on the rise, neurological disorders. You have all these things on the rise, and we have become a country that now believes that sickness is actually just part of life. And let me tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. I have actually called the globalists, the elites, I've called them geniuses before. Now, some people have gotten mad at me about that. And I say, I'm not saying they're good, I'm just saying they're geniuses. You can have an evil genius. See, they don't have to be a positive genius. There's evil people out there who do evil things, but they're still geniuses. And they have concocted and programmed this thing so well that they're literally getting people to buy the poison that makes them sick. And I'm hoping in this great awakening that people realize that 99% of what we're dealing with from a disease process standpoint is not genetic. Now, it can change genetics, right, but your sickness is coming from a lifestyle, and it includes the food you're putting in your mouth. So you rant on, sir. Go for it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So a very interesting factoid that I learned earlier this week, that 98% of the genes that run our body are from the biota in our gut. Human genes are only 2% of the genetic makeup. 2%. And so all this foment about gene defects. And then the other interesting statistic is that there's 10 times more defects in mitochondrial DNA than there is in nuclear DNA. Well, what's the trigger for everyone going to see their doctor? It's fatigue. It's the number one reason why we go see the doctor. And I've really taken a very deep dive into energy production because I'm writing a book on the root cause of fatigue. So I thought maybe I ought to understand this. The ghostwriter says, so let's write a chapter on how to make energy. I went, oh, that's a great idea. Let me go study that. So I've studied it very deeply, and it's amazing what's happened. So a number of years ago, some of the folks will recall there was an FDA commissioner by the name of David Kessler. Mm-hmm. He was a very high-profile MD, ran Yale Medical School, and I think he was out in the West Coast. He might have been at UCSF or something. But this guy was a player and was running the FDA, and he wrote a book after he finished his 8 years that he was there. He overlapped with both Bush Sr. and Clinton. And the book was entitled The End of Overeating. And it was a riveting book. And the first 2/3 of the book were him recounting conversations he had with these big industry executives, food industry executives, and what they do to manipulate our hunger and stimulate our buying practices. And then 2/3 into the book, he gives you the answer about how to end overeating. Just say no. We're talking to Nancy Reagan again. And it's like I literally threw the book into the ceiling when I got to that page where he says, well, just stop eating it. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's like, that's not an answer. And that's been playing in the back of my mind for several years now, probably eight years since I read it. And I have ranted about ascorbic acid. Am I freezing up? Are you hearing me okay?
Your audio is good. You're freezing up a little bit on my end. I will tell you, though, we have massive storms coming through tonight, so I'm not going to – I will disclaimer that big storms. So, but your audio seems fine, so I'm good. I'm good on mine. I'll let you know.
Yeah. Well, I bring on the storms, right? Isn't that right?
That's right. You bring it on. We're in the calm before the storm, as the president is supposed to say.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have any video now, but that's okay. And I'm assuming you can hear me.
I can hear you. We can hear you perfectly. Your face is frozen for myself, but I can hear you perfectly. So keep going, and I'll figure out if I want to kill it off and bring you back on. But keep going.
That's all right. Okay. So I have been ranting for years about the fact. Well, let me back up. People know that my passion is about helping people produce more bioavailable copper in their body. And when I say bioavailable copper, that's code for a very important protein called ceruloplasmin. And it's the biggest protein in the human body. I think it's the most important. And I think it's very entertaining that it's not taught in medical school. I find that laughable. And the reason why I think it's funny is because it's the protein that literally determines health versus disease and determines whether there's going to be energy or not. So it would make sense that they wouldn't teach it because it would kill the business model of medicine. So one of the properties of ascorbic acid, not vitamin C, not whole food vitamin C, but ascorbic acid, is it has a unique property of causing ceruloplasmin to blow up, and then the copper becomes unbound, and then all of the allopathic and alternative practitioners start chasing unbound copper like it's booga wooga bad, and we got to get rid of it, like they're a bunch of oncologists, and they have no idea what they're doing. It's the only element on planet Earth that can harness oxygen. It's unbelievable that this is not taught anywhere, not in any doctor school I know of. So what do I mean by harness oxygen? Well, copper activates oxygen in complex 4 of the mitochondria, turns it into water so energy can be released. That's pretty significant. Then copper also activates a whole series of enzymes called oxidase enzymes. And what that means is oxygen is being added to the substrate so that energy can be added to the enzyme function. It's a really big deal. And the enzyme that runs the mitochondria is an oxidase enzyme. Oh, what a coincidence. The enzyme that knits all of our tissue together, all of our connective tissue, and Jason, I know you as a chiropractor know this, but every ligament, every tendon, every cartilage, every blood vessel in the body, every fascia is made by one enzyme. It's called lysyl oxidase. Oh yeah, there's that oxygen thing again. And so I could go on for an hour just naming the oxidase enzymes. And copper is the only guy in town that can do that. Then copper goes on to deactivate oxidants. Well, what's an oxidant? It's an accident with oxygen. It happens all the time, especially when you're making energy. And the problem is when the mitochondria are not able to keep up with the production of making ATP, they start to make more exhaust, and then we've got a whole series of problems on our hands. So copper is the only element that can do those 3 jobs. Absolutely amazing. And who is the supply line to the mitochondria? Baker et al., 2017, we discovered that none other than ceruloplasmin is bringing copper to the mitochondria so that the 2 critical components of the electron transport chain, complex 4 and complex 5, can do their job and actually make ATP. Absolutely amazing. And then, I don't know if we've had a conversation since I've learned this. Have I talked about the number of mitochondria through the body? Have we talked about that at all?
No, but before you do, hold on one second. I am going to disconnect you, and I'm going to bring you back on. Okay?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, hold on a second.
Very good.
All right, everyone. I want Morley on correctly because I don't like having things not correct on video, and last night drove me up a wall. So here we go. I'm going to try to pull him back in. Hope you guys don't mind, but I like it to work correctly.
Now, what I should do, oops.
Bring yourself up on video, and then I'll pull you back over. Here you go. Boom! There we go. See, I like Morley's smiley moving face.
What I should do is kind of like sit here like this for the rest of the show.
After last night's audio stuff, I'm like, no, I want it right tonight. So continue on, sir.
Okay, all right. So I'm absolutely fascinated by mitochondria. They are amazing organelles, and they're the only organelle. Oh,
You're good. There? You're good. I'm here.
Okay. They're the only organelle in the cell that has its own DNA. Call me crazy, but that's a big deal, right? Okay. So mitochondria are communicating with every other part of the cell. It's absolutely amazing. So the nucleus doesn't run the cell. I think it's a fight between the membrane and the mitochondria. And so what we've got to do is dispel this high school myth that there's one cell and one mitochondria per cell. No. So what's fascinating is that 25% of our cells, called red blood cells, have no mitochondria. That's pretty cool. And an average adult body has 40 quadrillion mitochondria. Let that sink in.
I can't.
We have, we have,
Just you saying that word throws me off.
well, think about this. We have 100 trillion cells in our body. And so quadrillion, we've just increased it by 1,000-fold. Okay? So 40 quadrillion mitochondria. And each one of these mitochondria, this is based on the yeast model. Yeast and human cells are very similar. Believe it or not, it's kind of funny. But 50,000 atoms of copper per mitochondria. So I'll let you do the math. 40 quadrillion times 50,000. It's a really big number, okay? And the average cell has about 100 mitochondria. The average liver cell, 1,000 to 2,000 mitochondria. The average kidney cell, 3,000 to 4,000 mitochondria. The average heart cell, 5,000 mitochondria.
You're going higher and higher.
What's interesting about the kidney and the heart, this is fascinating. They're the those organs have what's called the highest resting potential. That means they have the highest electrical charge when they're at rest. It means they never get any time off. It's like they don't get to sit on the stool, like some people I know. They got to be standing up the whole time,
I've been standing all week.
I know, I'm just giving you a hard time. I'm busting your chops. So the heart, 5,000. This one is fascinating. The average mature egg in a woman's body, you ready? 600,000 mitochondria. Do you think that might be why women have problems on a monthly basis? Think that might explain what the problem might be?
So let me slow you down there a second, because I want to make a point here. Every time you make a bold statement like that, sir, I have to stop you and I have to clarify this bold statement, because this is where we get the little genius pills, red pills, that no one is telling anybody. So, how many did you say in a one female and one egg?
Well, the range is actually 100,000 to 600,000.
So 100 to 600,000 mitochondria in a
per egg.
Per female egg in ovulation, and yet we wonder why women are exhausted. Women's cycles are a train wreck because of hormone problems, and on top of that, we have infertility clinics popping up on every corner. And so this is how I always translate what Morley says. What he's saying is, if you fix the mitochondria, you could potentially shut down the entire damn infertility industry overnight. Continue on.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. So now, just to put it into perspective, the ladies on the call will love this. Here we go again. And you can hear me, right?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. And you can see me, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I can't see you anymore.
That's okay.
Which is just fine by me. So let's compare the egg cell to the sperm cell. So how many mitochondria are there in a sperm cell?
Please tell us.
You got to guess.
Come on. I'm going to guess way off. Can I Google?
You can't Google it fast enough. It's 50 to 75.
Wait, 50? Oh, like 50 to 75?
Yeah, but there's going to be maybe a billion sperm in ejaculation, but 50 to 75, and they're all in the tail.
All in the tail. Well, they got to burn some energy to get that egg.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Now, I think a lot of people are worried about neurodegeneration. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, things like that, right? Well, let's just focus on Parkinson's, because it's very convenient, because I found the data for it. So the part of the brain that's affected by Parkinson's is called the substantia nigra. And there are 900,000 neurons in the substantia nigra.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? 900,000. How do they know that kind of stuff? Isn't that amazing? Now, what's going to surprise everybody is that we have this very high school driven picture of a cell and it's got one mitochondria in it. So we know that that's not true. And so each neuron of the substantia nigra, which is controlling fine motor movement, each neuron has 2 million mitochondria. Now, when does the diagnosis of Parkinson's get established? When 2/3 of the neurons are dead.
They'll die because their mitochondria is shut down.
Exactly. So it's 660,000, or about 650,000, times 2 million. The scale of mitochondrial death is beyond comprehension. And it's not a disease, folks. It's a nutritional deficiency. And I can explain why I say that.
That's like my favorite. That's my favorite term. Not because I like it, but oh my God, Morley! If I could use one label to not to give America a disease, but if I give one label that would fix healthcare overnight, it's what you just said, folks. You're not sick. You have a nutritional deficiency.
Well, the term that I've come across, which I think really sums it up, is hidden hunger.
Right.
And most people don't know what minerals are. Most people don't know that our bodies have 9,000 enzymes and that they all run just like the cars we drive. And then we think about the fact that we can't drive cars without keys. And what? Oh, so these minerals must be pretty important. So we've got Parkinson's is a very specific mitochondrial event. It's an energetic crisis in the brain tissue. And it's not complicated why it's happening. And so one of the things that I've come across is that a lot of the forms of neurodegeneration, most of the forms of neurodegeneration, are really triggered by what's called glutamate toxicity. So, we know about monosodium glutamate. We may have heard the term excitotoxicity, that the neurons are firing so fast because they can't be regulated right. And it's really what's happening is that the glutamate if you have two neurons, they're kind of almost touching.
Mm-hmm.
And in between them is a synapse. And that's where glutamate hangs out. Well, I came across a really important article the last couple of weeks that talks about the role that glutamate plays in creating multiple sclerosis. Really amazing study that definitively explains the role that this glutamate toxicity has. And then on the heels of that study was another one that explains that, well, the reason why glutamate is out of control is a lack of copper, because copper is actually what regulates glutamate at the synapse. It's a really important job that copper has. Again, nobody talks about that. Then it's important for people to realize that all of these issues, all of these conditions that people are struggling with worldwide, again, are back to our topic of a couple minutes ago, nutritional deficiencies. And everything changed recently when I began to understand where the breakdown really is. And so one of my heroes is an iron biologist at the University of Manchester. His name is Douglas Kell. Guy's an absolute genius. I've had the pleasure of talking with him on a Skype call several years ago. and just was riveted by his intellect, but just his realness. He was a very approachable guy. And his best friend is a copper expert. His name is Garth Cooper. And their offices are literally next door to each other. They're best friends. They like to go to the pub and drink. And seriously, this, And so what Douglas Kell was telling me is that, but we never talk shop. And I'm like, what? The iron guy doesn't talk to the copper guy? He says, we never talk shop.
Wow.
But these are two preeminent experts on these two metals. But this Garth Cooper, for people who really want to understand copper metabolism, look up the research of Garth, Garth Cooper, University of Manchester. And he also has an appointment at, I believe, the University of Melbourne.
I'm looking him up now.
Yeah, really cool guy. And he and a group of people in 2016 did a study of Alzheimer's disease. And what they were able to demonstrate is that there were two critical events that take place in Alzheimer's. There's a buildup of glucose. Glucose cannot get into the neurons, cannot get into the mitochondria to get metabolized. And there is an equally dramatic shortage of copper in the brain tissue. Again, what people have to remember is that the brain is 2% of the body weight, and the brain consumes 20% of the oxygen that we breathe. So there's a tenfold differential in its metabolic activity relative to the body. It's an incredibly, this little bowling ball is a hotbed of ATP production, but it's also a hotbed of oxidative stress. Really important to know that. And that the amount of copper in our liver is rivaled by the amount of copper in our brain. They have about the same amount. Those are the two big copper centers in the human body. So why do we have all this neurodegeneration? Well, in this study on Alzheimer's disease, what they reveal, it's probably this one paragraph in this study changes everything, because it opened up a whole Pandora of dysfunction that, and you know me well enough to know I've been doing a lot of reading for 10 years, right? And so it's like suddenly there was a crack in the universe and I got to see what's really happening. And so what Garth Cooper and his colleagues revealed is that in these in these low copper, high glucose brains, and it is high glucose because of the low copper. Copper is essential to get glucose into the cell. There's a transporter called GLUT1, and if GLUT1 doesn't work, the sugar can't get into the cell, and then it can't engage in glycolysis, and then the Krebs cycle, and then the electron transport chain. So it becomes a really big deal. And when that happens, there's a greater chance for glycation. And you're probably familiar with the concept of advanced glycation end products.
Yep.
You heard that term?
I've heard of that.
Okay, they're called AGEs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first one that was discovered was in 1985. And it was called, the initials are CML. And CML stands for carboxymethyl lysine. And this is a badass in the body. It's a very serious problem. And what CML does is it alters the copper orientation in collagen. Let that sink in. So we're talking, we were talking about lysyl oxidase a little earlier, right?
Yep.
When you start to mess with the copper orientation, well, then the connective tissue doesn't work as the same way. But there's more. So then the CML goes on to block the copper uptake doorway in the cell. It's called CTR1, copper transporter 1, and it's the only way you can get copper in the cell. CTR1 is what ceruloplasmin docks to offload its copper. It's a really big deal. Now, why am I so worked up about this? Because once I understood what CML was and what it does, and what it goes on to do is it destroys energy production in the mitochondria. It's not a good thing. But I wanted to understand why. What's the exact mechanism, or how does it actually happen? And it turns out that when there are 6 different agents in the food system, the most significant of which are ascorbic acid and PUFAs. Do you know anybody who's taking fish oils like there's no tomorrow? They think, oh my God, I got to get my fish oils, which is different than cod liver oil.
Right.
They're very different.
Yeah. So for everyone that heard that, so ascorbic acid, everybody, he's talking about. Ascorbic acid is passed off as vitamin C, and ascorbic acid is not vitamin C. So if you're taking a vitamin C and it says as ascorbic acid, you're not getting real vitamin C. There's only one vitamin C. It's whole food vitamin C. You need a whole food source because it's a complex. And then he said PUFAs, which is polyunsaturated fatty acids. So keep going.
So when those two mix with glucose, they create carboxymethyl-lysine. And so here's the deal. We live on a planet with 21% poison in the air, and I spell it PO2ISON. So the oxygen in the air is a poison. It's next to fluoride, it's the most reactive element on the planet. Let that sink in, folks. So we're breathing all day long, all night long. We're breathing a poison that needs to be harnessed by copper. Ding, ding, ding. Okay? Copper is really important. It's been demonized. So the social and medical meme is, oh, you're anemic and you're copper toxic. And most of the people that are on the internet believe that, when in fact you and I have discussed this ad nauseum. It's just the opposite. And so we need bioavailable copper with a passion, and every chronic condition on this planet is caused by oxidative stress because copper and iron are having a fight over oxygen. It is not complicated. It is so painfully simple, it's really mind-numbing. And so now what we find out is that in 1937, Albert Szent-Györgyi gets the Nobel Prize for his work in antioxidant discoveries. He didn't really get the Nobel for ascorbic acid. That's all mythology. But the important thing is they stole his genius and ascribed it to making ascorbic acid. And it is a poison. It is, and the reason why I say that is that ascorbic acid, and I've got 35 citations now to prove that ascorbic acid kills bioavailable copper. My image just froze.
Keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
You're good again.
Okay. So I've got 35 citations. 35 citations from 1948 to the present day that explain how ascorbic acid kills ceruloplasmin and makes copper unbound, and it's reactive in that unbound state. And then we find out that ascorbic acid is mixing with the sugar in our ridiculous diet that we all eat, creating CML. CML is highly prevalent in diabetes patients. And the way they measure it is the amount of albumin the diabetic patient produces, and albumin is grabbing copper. And that's how they know how much CML is there. It's kind of wild. But CML then is preventing the body from naturally taking up that copper, and it's causing it to be excreted from the body. And I think it's worth noting that when ceruloplasmin is fully loaded, it's called HOLO, H-O-L-O, ceruloplasmin, it lasts for 144 hours. When it's empty, which is the goal of Big Pharma, when ceruloplasmin is apo, empty, it lasts for 6 hours. Well, that's a 24 times differential. So the healthy, natural, fully loaded ceruloplasmin lasts 24 times longer than the empty ceruloplasmin that is created by many agents, but not the least of which is ascorbic acid. And then we find out that ascorbic acid is creating one of the most toxic chemicals in the body, CML. It's an advanced glycation product. And then we find out that, oh yeah, one of the really recommended recommendations for COVID-19 is high dose ascorbic acid. And what people have got to wake up to the reality of is that not only is COVID-19 a scam, but the conventional therapy, whether it's allopathic or alternative, is a scam within a scam. And people don't know they're being played within the game. And that all of the recommendations to treat COVID-19, whatever it is, I think it's a parasite that has a viral reaction, but we don't need to go into that. But it's certainly not a virus. And every recommendation coming out of medicine kills copper, whether we're talking about high-dose vitamin D, high-dose zinc, high-dose ascorbic acid, azithromycin, or even the much ballyhooed hydroxychloroquine. It's an iron chelator, but it's also a copper chelator. Ha, ha, ha. And so what we're faced with is a very tough rock and hard place, because the average person doesn't know what we're talking about. The average person doesn't know that ascorbic acid is poison. The average person doesn't know that copper is our savior and always has been from the beginning of time. The average person doesn't know that there's recorded history of using copper as a medicinal agent going back to 5000 BC. That the average person doesn't know that Hippocrates used copper in his healing in Greece. And so everything changed 100 years ago. And so we're fighting the good fight over COVID-19, but this has been a century-long battle. That COVID-19 is just another in a series of battles that have been waged against humanity. And we didn't think that anything could be worse than glyphosate. Well, COVID-19, not so much because of the pathogen, whatever it is. It's the crap they're putting in our body now. And then let's add insult to injury. Let's require people to wear masks, which lowers their oxygen content, increases their carbon dioxide content, lowers their immune system, makes them fuzzy-headed, and then we get into all of the shaming games in public. Oh, you're not wearing a mask. And it's just, it's insane. But I just wanted to really emphasize for people why copper is important and why ascorbic acid is an absolute toxic poison on this planet. And ascorbate is no better. It's just the salt form of ascorbic acid. They're equally as toxic. And what we're really needing in our body is more bioavailable copper, more usable copper, because bioavailable copper is what makes iron functional so that it can carry oxygen, so the copper can activate it in the mitochondria so we don't have to go see the doctor. So that's my thoughts.
So I have to tell you a story this week. So whenever I get somebody in the office who I'm working with nutritionally, I always give them the education typically up front once we get working, not right in the beginning because it usually blows them out and they don't fully understand it. So I drip the education on purpose. And I usually say that, because it's so funny you brought up the parasite issue, is I say, oh yeah, there's parasites everywhere at this point. And they're like, well, there's no way I have them. And so I go, I don't care if you're ideal weight. I don't care if you're underweight. I don't care if you're obese. Guess what? You have them, because the entire design of this system is to break the body down. And I've even talked a little bit regarding pineal gland and like the cures might be coming. I can't say they are for sure. Maybe the Great Awakening we'll have a lot of cures, but we were definitely not intended to live 100 years and less. Like, that was not the intention. These bodies, if you go back to biblical times, are, 500 plus years old. We were intended to live much longer and not be infiltrated by all these parasites and pathogens, etc. What you just said. So I had this person who, let me tell you, I'm gonna say offhand, he's probably about 6'2", roughly. Marathon type runner, but not like an unhealthy marathon runner. He actually takes care of himself, works out, slender. I mean, to the point where, like, lean, good muscle, eats more of a carnivore keto style diet, like really takes care of himself. And he has like the 6-pack, 8-pack going on. Dad, husband, like just really good guy. Like, what, like, you know, when you meet one of those people and you're like, man, he probably can't be that nice. No, he really is just that nice. He's got a good life, good family. And I've been working with him for a while. And it's funny because I told him, as I go, I'm pumping copper into your body. You're eating more copper as well as your food. And I'm getting these parasites out of you as fast as I can. And he's like, so last week, he showed up for more parasites. He's like, there's no way. Look at my, like, and he's not being egotistical, but he's like, there's nothing left in his body to go out. But yet he still feels off. And his muscles are tired. And it's not because he's overworking it, because I actually had him rest a little bit. And I said, and then finally, I got him on some parasite stuff, more parasite stuff, some nice liquids along with his copper. And on Monday morning, early Monday morning, about 2:45 in the morning, he woke up with a horrible, horrible stomach pain, like as in he was being stabbed. So he ran downstairs and he took a bunch of the parasite stuff, just like gut instinct, right?
Yeah.
And he finally got back to sleep. The next morning he woke up and he said, I went to the bathroom and I can't even explain to you the monster that came out of my system, and how is it possible that something like that was in me? And I will tell you, he gave me the picture on Monday. I have the picture on my phone. I have not posted it because I don't even know, Morley, if I can post this picture because of what it looks like. And literally it looks like somebody took their bare hands, reached down into a bucket of earthworms, and pulled them out and had 2 handfuls of it. And literally, that's what came out after we started killing him off and putting the copper in his body. And he literally, like, when you look at him, there's no way. And I go, these things are literally, they're feeding on so much iron toxicity and toxins in your body and pathogens. And then they're literally covering themselves in a biofilm and sticking themselves to the sides of the internal organs of your body.
Right.
It's everything that you just said. And I see this, you see this, like, it's insane.
I have a client who had an 8-foot parasite come out of her body.
Yep.
8 feet.
I've seen it. Make me laugh.
Well, the thing is, what's important for people to understand is that parasites, they get passed from mom to child.
Yes.
And they take residence before the baby's immune system takes over at around age of 2. So for 2 years, the parasites are doing their thing. And then when the immune system starts to come online, says, well, got these critters, but they've been here the whole time, so I'm not going to worry about them. And they're really hard on copper status. There's a very provocative theory about some of the neurodegenerative diseases is there's a parasite component. And again, what are they living on? Iron. There's no surprise there. But they make it really difficult for copper uptake.
Right.
And so, and I applaud what you're doing because you've got to get rid of these critters. And the immune system runs on the energy of copper. What no one talks about is the bioenergetics of the immune system. There's a whole new field now of medicine called immunometabolism. And they're waking up to the reality that the immune system is only as good as the mitochondria. That we're supposed to have an electric grid in our body that keeps us body safe and can prevent the chaos from getting into our body, and if it does get in, it gets zapped. And so all of this mumbo jumbo about all these different things that people are supposed to be doing to strengthen their immune system, no, just make sure that your body has a smaller iron footprint and a larger biomass of bioavailable copper. It really is. It's that straightforward. And tragically, very few practitioners are aware of that and understand the simplicity of it. The funny thing about it is the lay people that I work with, they get it like that. They don't worry. The people that I have the hardest time convincing are the practitioners, especially the allopathic practitioners who've got all this garbage memorized and they know what they know, but they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna brag for you right now because, like, for example, and I bragged to other people about this. Not really bragging, just education, honestly. For anybody listening out there, you are not going to hear this information other places. You're not, and I trust me. I really appreciate all the natural health doctors out there, the Mercolas of the world, the Bergs of the world. Like they're doing a good job because at least they're getting information out there, and that is good. But I will tell you right now, because I have a lot of friends in this planet, the Morleys of the world, other practitioners around the country, and I will tell you, there's 5, maybe 10 of us on the planet right now that know what Morley is talking about and actually are getting this stuff into patients, the copper in, the pathogens out, the monsters out. Like there's people think that everyone's doing this. No, not everyone's doing this. I know people who work in nutrition who are very close friends of mine. They do not venture down this road. You have to know someone who's going to go after the source. And literally, there's a handful of people on the planet who are actually doing this for people right now. So I brag for Morley because he's one of them. It's what you're getting tonight. We need to get this information out to the world. That's why I say please always share it and get it out there, because one more person every single time, 2 more people, 5 more people, 10 more people, this is how you shift the healthcare paradigm.
So let me, real quickly, I know we're running out of time. People are asking, what should we do? Well, have people go to the rcp123.org.
Yep.
It's a website that I started many years ago, and I have a training program, and I teach. I've trained about 350 people to think like I do, which is a scary thought. But let me just share 2 calls that I got today. This is a typical day. 2 clients, both in their 60s. One is a writer who was ravaged by mold. She lived in a moldy house for 14 years. She'd been to specialists literally all over the planet with no results. She has been a hot mess for 14 years, and she's 6 months into the root cause protocol. And she called me this morning. She was so excited. One of the components of the process is to donate blood to get rid of the excess iron that's in our tissue. And she called. She was absolutely euphoric. She said, Morley, my energy's back. I can sing again. I can hear again. And she said, I can't thank you enough. I said, well, don't thank me. Thank Mother Nature. I stole these ideas from there. And we had a very interesting conversation. That was at 7 o'clock this morning. And then at 5 o'clock, I was talking to another client. She's actually taking my course. She's a doctor, a naturopathic doctor. And she has struggled with antitrypsin factor. She's got a cough like you have a cough now, but she's had it for like 10 years.
Oh, wow.
She's up in Michigan, and nothing has been able to crack the code. I mean, she's been to specialists all over the country. And we were talking today, and she had some questions, and she said, there's something I've been meaning to tell you. I said, yeah, what? She said, I've only been doing the protocol now for 3 months since the classes started. I said, yeah. And then she burst into tears. She said, Morley, I was at the point where I was ready to give up. I was literally thinking about what I was going to do, how I was going to end my life, things like that. And she said, I'm back. I've got my energy. I can't believe it. And so, again, I want to be careful that it's these nutrients that are in this protocol are what the body needs to rev up the engines, get those 40 quadrillion mitochondria back into the game, and then the body knows what to do. This idea that, I've got to go on offense and I've got to go to the internet and I've got to figure out how to recharge my heart or recharge my uterus or recharge my joints. No, you don't. Once you start to make energy in the body, trust me, the body knows exactly what to do. And just get out of the way. But make sure you're dealing with your stress. Make sure you're dealing with your emotional traumas. And make sure that you're taking the right supplements. And there's a whole series of stops and a whole series of starts. And people are always surprised when they find out they shouldn't be taking iron supplements, shouldn't be taking ascorbic acid, shouldn't be taking calcium, shouldn't be taking vitamin D. Please don't take vitamin D. It's an absolute toxic nightmare. And there's a whole bunch of other things, but the mainstream recommendations that are being bannered about today are designed to weaken us, designed to lower our energy, designed to force us into submission. I absolutely feel very strongly about that, and it's important for people to take the steps. If the patriots out there really want to be emboldened, we've got to get your health back. You got to get your energy back, and this protocol I know works. It's not the only one that works, but it's one there's 190,000 people on Facebook that are following this work, and the number of downloads is about 2,000 people a month now downloading that protocol. So I'm so grateful to Jason because he allows me to bang my gums, but also let people know that there are solutions out there that do get to the question of, well, what are we supposed to do? Well, there's very specific things that need to be done. And I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to share this with you guys.
Well, I appreciate it as well, and I always appreciate Morley because of his genius. And I will tell you, at some point, Morley will be globally because there is so much to this copper situation, and it's honestly, I don't know how much information is at the bottom of the Vatican vaults about like our history and everything else, but you know what I feel like is also being hidden now. It's out there, but it's being hidden because they refuse to cover it. Is the ancestral diet that used to have copper in it, and today we have people going, I don't want to eat liver, and I'm going to say I'm not a liver fan either. However, we have found ways to get it into the diet, even though I don't love the taste of it. We hide it in stuff, and we still get it. But it's like the hidden secrets of our ancestry of how we're supposed to eat, because when you eat the way the ancestors ate, you get your copper properly. And now today we're going, oh, we got to take it in supplement form. Yes, it does work, but we've lost our way of eating. That's a purpose for both of us. So Morley, I appreciate you very much. I'm gonna hold off questions tonight, not because I want to, but because I have to shut the body down tonight. I think
Yep,
if
fine.
I don't, it will be mad at me this weekend, and I would like to get some rest and actually like get it to heal again.
Well, let's pick it up again, and we can answer some questions. I'm happy to do that. And I really, again, thank you for the chance to be a part of this Patriot Party and help dance on minds and give people some new information. People need to know that 99% of the recommendations on the internet about health are pure garbage, absolute unmitigated garbage. And I know it's really hard to accept, but that's the nexus of the matrix, and we're all plugged into the matrix, and we don't realize that they're feeding us garbage. And so you have to be aware and willing to seek out the truth and then take the steps to act on the truth.
100%. My website is below, but Morley, give them your website one more time so they can go download the information as well.
Yeah, it's RCP for Root Cause Protocol, rcp123.org, and scroll to the bottom of the screen. Give us your email address, and then you get a 32-page document that will guide you into steps you can take to rebuild your body and then rebuild your energy. That's really what it comes down to. It's about allowing the body to do what nature and our maker intended from the beginning. Is we got to be able to change this oxygen that we breathe and turn it into water. And our mitochondria are perfectly designed to do that when they have adequate levels of copper in the center of the mitochondria. It's very, very important.
Beautifully stated, sir. I appreciate you as always. Everyone, do me a favor. Please go share this. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube right now. It's on Periscope. It's all over the place. It's vital information for your health. If you want to survive this whole train wreck of a system until we can implode it, this is how you actually do it. Like, you are listening to people who are at the top, and that's not bragging for any of us, but we're allowed to brag. You know why we're allowed to brag? Because medicine kills them, and we're the one that actually brings them back to life as much as possible when we can. So that's why we brag just a little bit. But this is the key to life. This is the key to health. This is how people get better. And I always appreciate Morley. He is a noble patriot. He is fantastic. And I thank him for being on tonight. Please go share this. This is Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network. For Morley Robbins, we wish you a very pleasant and good evening. And we're both going to go get some rest because we're working our butts off. Morley, have a good night. Appreciate having you, sir.
Thanks again. Appreciate the opportunity.
Be well.
Okay. Bye-bye.